Okay. And I think we're good. I'm on my way out. Love you.
I meant to ask you to get the. I meant to ask you to get the face stuff. Okay. Cool. Yeah, well. Yo, Fallout Boy. No, it's not Fallout Boy. It's there you go. Yeah.
One problem is battery out right now. So, it's
Okay.
oh, right. And if you want, you can set it up here. You don't have to worry about the camera. This. Wait, we're still live. We're still active. Oh,
Yeah.
just want to bring it up. Live.
There's some testing.
Perfect. There's like no lag. All right. Welcome back, everybody, to ACG, where we're just a couple gamers. It's your boy Smooth, and we're back with another episode of. You can. This is another episode of Like It or Not, baby. We have some stuff to talk about today, but this is a special occasion. Special occasion because I have my best friend and co-host with me in person today, which is a very, very rare occasion. Tell them who you are and where to find you, my dude.
Yo, what's up, everybody? It's Old Black Dude Plays. You can find me over at Old Black Dude Plays on Twitch and on YouTube.
And ladies and gentlemen, we have a hot topic today. This is something that's actually a trending topic. If you guys want to help us get the conversation started over on Twitch for Old Black Dude Plays, you guys need to go ahead and either use an extra account or another device, or tell your mom, tell your friend, tell your sisters, brothers, ass to get on over to Twitch and follow my buddy here, because not only are we doing gaming content, we're doing podcast content, we're doing IRL content. We're also helping other streamers as well. So if you guys want to get into our official ACG community, so you guys can be part of this, if you guys are a small time streamer yourself, you guys are trying to grow your platforms, then hooking up with OBD on Twitch and YouTube and hooking up with myself over in our official Discord is the way to do it. Okay, so since we don't have any sponsors today, we can keep going on with this conversation. So they're in Egypt. And I know you guys are probably going, yeah, no shit. There's a lot of stuff we don't know about. No, this is something different. This is something completely brand new. I I can only summarize, but so much about the conversation I have when it comes to these things. So I'm going to bring up the information as well. But before we get the conversation started, I just want to touch briefly on the mysteries of ancient Egypt so far. Some of the mysteries in ancient Egypt already are mind-blowing as it is. You know, how the pyramids were built. Could we build these pyramids today the same way that they did with technology that we have today? Some, people that have spent their entire lives with building construction projects and drawing blueprints and right, and they went to school their entire lives and stuff. Even some of these people today will tell you that it's impossible. It's impossible today. It's definitely impossible for them to have done it back then. And so these were already mysteries that one would say, are unsolved to this day, right? Well, now it's gone beyond that. They've used a new type of technology to essentially do a X-ray of the ground floor beneath the pyramids, and they found some structures underneath there that are the size of them are mind-blowing. The way that they're designed is mind-blowing. How they did it, who did it, we're going to discuss all of these things today. What was your initial reaction on the release of this information initially?
My initial reaction was a lot of skepticism. Because I've been hearing some rumblings about new findings over the last, 9 months. But I just hadn't really been paying attention. It didn't look like anything worthy. So I was initially kind of skeptical.
Do you remember what the initial report was exactly?
So the initial report regarding this was just a guy on Facebook who linked the paper from the people who held the press conference or the meeting that was in Egypt. The people who actually did the imaging or whatever. They gave him a copy of what they had at the hearing or the press conference, whatever, and he released it on Facebook. That's how if I recall correctly, that's how it was broke. The story was broke.
And we were talking about something before the show started about how these researchers, they don't speak English. And so there's been kind of a delay in some of the information that we've been getting here and around the world simply because of this. It's got to go through the proper channels, right? They got to probably talk to certain governments. And then also the release of the information is going to be slow unless you're from these countries, right? Okay, so recent claims suggest that the discovery of an extensive underground structures beneath Egypt's Giza pyramids potentially challenging our understanding of ancient Egypt civilizations. Now, these Italian and Scottish researchers, they were utilizing synthetic aperture radar, that is otherwise known as SAR technology or SAR technology. The report is identifying a vast subterranean network of extending over 6,500 feet below the surface. 6,000 feet below surface. Can we break that down? 6,500. Break that down. 6,500 feet. So what is it? 100 feet. So what is it? How many feet are in a football field? In 100. How many feet are in a football field? In 100 yards.
Any math today?
I got you. Hold on. Okay. I got you. Hold on. Okay. I got you.
I made it to be an old black dude.
That's hilarious. Okay, 300 feet are in a ball field.
Wow.
Okay, so let's do this.
And it's penetrating how far?
6,500 feet.
It's 300 in a football field? Wow.
All right, let's see what we got here. So, you guys, There is 65 football fields beneath the surface of the pyramid. 65 football fields.
That's crazy.
What? Do you know how long, bro? Like, imagine you remember your high school football field. If you're on offense or defense, special teams, they kick that ball, bro. You're tired by the time you get like, you know what I'm saying, to the end of that football field. Imagine 65 of those long, just going straight beneath the surface of the pyramids. All right, and that's from what we've seen. For all we know, our technology is not reaching. You know what I'm saying? Like, we haven't seen everything there is to see down there. So that's pretty strange, if you ask me. Thoughts on that, bro?
So my thoughts on that. Well, so okay. Most people are probably thinking, how are they get this data, right? What are they using? Like, what's the method? The research on that, and they're actually using satellites to get this data. So they're not actually they're not actually on site doing this. They're using existing satellites to get this stuff done.
And there's some weird stuff. Oh no, bro, are you telling me I should just? And so they're saying that a lot of it might just be exaggerated. But as I said when it first happened and we had this conversation off air, like I said, to me, anything that is that deep below the surface that they're, even if it's not everything they're saying it is, if there are structures beneath the pyramids, it chambers, right, for dead people. And this has been highly disputed by some researchers that claim they're not sarcophagal chambers. They were not built to hold royal bodies, right, after death. And so there's been a lot of debate back and forth on this. Now, if there's, like I said, any structures beneath the pyramid that we have no clue about whatsoever, and they're connected, and they are anything at all like what they're saying, to me that still changes everything. We thought we knew
Egypt and the Egyptians, as long as we can remember. If you think about any story that has to do with Egypt, you go back to the 1800s when they supposedly found Egyptian artifacts and hieroglyphs in the cave in the Grand Canyon, and now that area is off limits. There's so many supposed pyramids around the world, and the government will just say it's just a mountain or a mound, or a hill, stuff like that. I mean, if you just think back to so many, even the fact that there weren't any to the school. That's what they want everybody to think, but it's a fact that no body was found in any pyramid.
I mean, I just think like Egypt, where it's like it's almost like the beginning of humankind, right? The beginning of mankind. Like there's so many mysteries and stuff that are just unsolved, just sitting there, right? And for some reason, we would rather inhabit and care more about stuff that really just there's no real history there. And so it's always been curious to me why we haven't just absolutely turned Egypt upside down. Like it's always been a huge mystery. It's always been a mystery to me why we're so consumed with trying to get to space yet we don't even know what's here on Earth. Like there's so much about us that we know we can find in the dirt beneath our feet. And for some reason, we're just trying to, we're like, we don't care to know. Like, we just want to know about space. We want to colonize somewhere else. But we haven't even, that's how greedy we are as human beings. That's how greedy our race is. We don't even know about who we are, where we came from, or what is even here on this planet. And we're already ready to go and take on somebody else. Just look at America. We are in the position that we are right now because we're always so freaking concerned. We will use, like, okay, let's just using now. Or do you think that it's going to be something that the military takes away really quickly and then, you know, we don't really hear about it again?
No chance that they use it for good. There's not enough good people in power for it to be used for good. If it is something that can be used, then they're hiding it away until they figure out how it can be used. So yeah, I don't think the government will say anything about it. I mean, they lie and deny about everything. So I don't think they'll say anything until they absolutely have to.
Okay, so they're not going to use it for good. Do you think they'll use it to replace the energy that we're using now?
No, because the people who are in charge, they have money, and they're in charge because they have money. They have power because they have money and influence, and that will change everything. And they're not willing to. They don't want that change. They don't want to see that change, even if it is for the good of people, because it won't be good for them.
Okay, so either way, if this is legit technology, this is something that mysteries in Egypt. I think we would have already figured out all the mysteries if we had utilized the technology instead of going to the moon and everywhere else, right? Not to mention, lives wouldn't have been risked, probably, at least not as badly as NASA has risked lives over the years. Till Smooth spoke, it sounded like one of the chipmunks. Yeah. I do apologize, guys, about the connection. I don't know what's going on. It's going to be funny to go back and listen to, though. But, yeah, okay, so just imagine for a second, right? Imagine just of mankind to get his hands on this technology. That would be my overall best case scenario for me, probably. That's what I could see, because the government's not going to do it. It would have to be somebody that steps in and blows the lid off of it to the point where the people are just going to be like, hold on a second, I don't have to spend $16,000 on gas. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? Like, what? Right? Like, that's what the best case scenario for me. What about you?
Yeah, I think the government. Yeah. Hold on, let me to what you were saying earlier. 100%, if they spend the time and resources that they did to go to the moon to uncover what was in Egypt, we would know everything. Everything. So clearly they don't want to know.
Right. No, they don't want us to know.
Right.
So if so they're purposely avoiding it. Okay, so let me ask you this then, dude. What do you think is going on? What do you think was going on back then? Like, what is it? Like, we don't have to know what it is exactly, but what is going on? Why things so far underground? To me, that could be possibilities. One, there was some type. The pyramids were underwater. They found, sea sediments and ocean sediment or something like that, like on top of the pyramids, like at the highest point to the point where like the only way that could possibly happen is if it was underwater at one point. We all know that there were some great floods around the world supposedly that happened. But my question is how would they know it happened?
I don't think they put it underground. Well, I'm curious how much they ground and how much has been buried. Right? I mean, clearly some of the stuff is underground because of passageways and stuff like that. But yeah, no, most of that stuff is underground. Like some of the, have you seen the giant tombs with the giant lids on them? The lids that weigh like thousands of pounds.
Yeah.
That look like they're machine cut and everything. And they're in these tiny spaces and all that stuff is underground.
How are these spaces so tiny?
It doesn't make any sense. Why are those spaces so tiny? Everything's so heavy, but the spaces are so tiny.
Even some of the passageways inside some of the pyramids that I've seen are just like, no. Like claustrophobia to the absolute maximum degree. So there has always been talk of how small some of the beings are, right? Like some of the people that were saying that they found the spaceships, not spaceships, but that they found, like the pieces of debris and stuff like that. People that were there to actually witness this stuff said that there was a call to bring coffins, multiple coffins that were the size of coffins, and that the alien bodies were the size of children. That's the only thing that makes sense to me.
I guess one thing that kind of makes sense to me is utilize the technology that was left behind by some extraterrestrial, as we're just hiding it away. Maybe it was left to them as a gift, and maybe they used it for good for a while, and then something happened and they didn't. It's just more speculation in all theory, but something along those lines, because all the stuff with the pyramids, the small spaces, the heavy objects, like you don't do stuff like that unless you can. But you do it. But you do it because you can, right? You don't do difficult things like that just for no reason, right? If it's right, you don't spend thousands or hundreds of years. You don't spend the amount of time that they the pyramids. You don't spend that much time to build something like that. You just don't. In lifetimes, in multiple lifetimes, no, they built that in one lifetime. I guarantee it.
Well, what about this theory that there's a mythical hall of records underneath there? Some type of like legendary repository of ancient knowledge. We know that from what we think we know, there have already been legendary repositories of knowledge that have disappeared over time. The Black Scrolls say so, right? There's a lot of stuff that's disappeared over time. You think it's possible that there is tons of information down there? From what we've seen on, Egyptian hieroglyphs, there could be possibly. What if we go down there and it's a different civilization, some type of stuff we've never seen, or maybe it's some stuff that we'll be able to decipher the same way we did the hieroglyphs? What do you think about that?
The whole records has been written about multiple times in history. So it's possible maybe there is something like that down there. There's been there's no telling what we'll find down there because there's so many legends and so many artifacts that have gone missing, in the history and for the years that you read about. So there's no telling what's hiding. It could be the Ark of the Covenant. It could be, it could be anything. There's no telling what we'll find down there. But there's no way, if what they're saying is true about what's underneath the pyramids, there's no way that these things were built with chisels. There were copper tools and chisels and bamboo sleds rolling giant blocks pulled by dudes wearing loincloths. Like, there's no way that's what happened. And 100%, I would go back to Egypt.
I want to know about the planes that have disappeared over the Bermuda Triangle. Because a lot of people, I think we should do a whole episode on that, to be honest with you. A lot of people don't know this, but it's a common misconception about the Bermuda Triangle, okay? A lot of people think that it's just ships that disappear and Amelia Earhart, and that's about it, right? They know there's some weird stuff that happens. Everybody's heard the lore, like your meters stop working, all electrical stuff shuts down, right? There's a lot of weird stuff about it. What people don't know is that there was a fleet. I don't know if you can call them a fleet. I know you call ships a fleet. What do you call a bunch of airplanes? I guess I would say fleet. Right? A squad of planes, all right? Multiple, like 5 or more, okay? They're all flying over the area of the Bermuda Triangle. Every single one of them went missing. Every single plane had a co-pilot. Every single plane that was flying side by side all went missing at the same time. There was they found nothing. They found nothing. They searched forever, bro. They found nothing. They called in ships from other countries that were in the area to help try and figure out where these pilots went. And they couldn't find anything. No trace, no nothing. So it's not just a couple planes, right? You're talking about whole ass squads. I can't imagine being a part of the family of those people that went missing, and all the military says is, well, they're on a mission, and we don't know what happened. What? How many? Oh, well, like 5 or 6 planes. They all just. What are you talking about?
That's crazy.
Right? And whole shit. Whole shit. So there's a couple things that, I feel like need to be addressed when you're talking about this topic is, number one, why is the government not, again, we're talking about, we're spending at this point, do you know what I think the government knows? I think the government knows that we have to get the off of this planet. I think they're beneath Egypt, and I think the government knows there's some scary stuff beneath our ocean. Because you have to ask yourself a couple questions here, folks. Why is it that we're so concerned with getting off this rock, and we are not looking in places that we know are unexplored mysteries? And why is it that there's all this shady, weird shit that's involved around the Bermuda Triangle, Egypt, the ocean, right? But we don't want to touch none of that. The ocean, right? But we don't want to touch none of that. We don't want nothing to do with it. We just want to get off of this rock. Yes. Why is that, bro? Come on, dog. Like, come on, bro. After a while, like, how are they going to do that? I'm like, how are they going to force people to just go electric? It seems like an impossible task. And the fact that they put a time on it, I think the 2027 or 2028 is right around the corner. I know that. It's just a couple years away. But supposedly, they're like, all right, everything from now on is going to be electric. And if you have cars, we're going to phase them out. Like, so again, I'm like, how are they going to do that? well, a new type of technology or something like that, or a new something had to come about, right? We got Tesla, we got Elon, we got all this stuff going on with SpaceX, right? You got Trump in office saying just outlandish shit all the time, every day. So it's like, this is all lining up for me. If they were going to push electric, or, you know what I'm saying? Or just, it doesn't have to be electric, right? But if they were going to phase out gas-powered vehicles and stuff the way they say they're going to do, then this is all lining up. Coincidence? We talked about something else that we said wasn't a coincidence too the other day. With Elon and Trump and how everything was lining up. What was it? Oh, okay, yeah. Trump's what was it? Was it his new space program that he's doing? What is it?
Space Force?
Space Force. You guys, bro, I'm pretty positive it was at least a year or two before when Trump announced the whole Space Force. Wasn't it his last presidency?
It was his last presidency he created the Space Force.
Right. So you're telling me that's a coincidence? Trump creates a Space Force,
a new branch of the military,
and now he's buddy and running and got the SpaceX founder in his office, in the Oval Office. That's a coincidence.
And as a matter of fact, this weekend, J.D. Vance and his wife are going to the Space Force outpost up in Greenland.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Go check it out.
Okay. So I mean, again, guys, this is all supposed to be some type of coincidence, right? I swear to you, and this sounds so weird to think about, but imagine all of this stuff that's happening since probably a year leading up to Trump taking office again. Imagine all of this having been planned out, and we're just now seeing it take place.
Oh, for sure. For sure they've been planning.
But that means all the stuff that we've been seeing in real time, like Elon Musk buying Twitter and turning it into X, right? Mm-hmm. All of the stuff that's going on with Elon and Doge, right? Mm-hmm. Trump leaving Twitter and creating his own thing, which kind of led to Elon buying it, which nobody connected them to back then at all. Right? Supposedly Elon getting new, or should I say, being awarded government contracts for Tesla and his other companies, right? All the tax breaks that were going on. The list goes on and on and on of the things that were probably put into play then that we had no idea were connected. Like all of this stuff. What about the war? What about the war? What about Elon supplying, Ukraine with like satellites and shit for aerial defenses? And what about the war? What about that? Because if you guys remember correctly, Joe Biden was in office when the war started. If you remember, half of his campaign was, this is Joe Biden. If I was in office, I would have had the war ended in a day. Right? Right? So Trump wasn't even in office. The war starts when Joe Biden is in office for 4 years, right? Trump already colluding with Elon back then.
Exactly.
Right? Okay, so there's a war. How do we take advantage of this? Well, I could help them. I could help them supply with satellites. You know what I'm saying? Like before,
that's right. Because he's the one who's supplying the system for the Iron Dome.
It's kind of crazy to think about the amount of stuff that had to have been taking place in order for all of this stuff to happen today that we're seeing. And definitely pre-planned. And I I really do think that if we take a look at things like the Bermuda Triangle and stuff like that, and we do our own research to try and figure out what's really going on here on Earth, on this planet that we're all inhabiting now, I think we'll have a better understanding of what the government's been up to and, what their plans are now. But there's a lot to be discussed on the Bermuda Triangle, bro. I could go on for days on that. So much. What are your thoughts going into this new year with everything that's been going on around us? Do you think we're heading towards World War III?
Yes.
And when I say that, I mean the United States heading into it. Not just it happening. Because I'm pretty sure it's happening, but are we entering the war?
I'm not sure. I mean, I hope not. But I don't see how it can be avoidable. I don't see how it can be. It may not. I mean, it may not be soon, but it's going to be very interesting to see, because all these other countries are making moves, making plays, setting up their pieces. You know what I'm saying? The pieces are being set in play. If you just look around the world and see what's going on, just go country by country and see what they're doing, you'll start to see they're making moves for something. And unfortunately, it's looking like a World War III situation. Hope that's not true. Somebody's going to make a move, and once that move is made, somebody's going to have to make another move. Like, they're going to, all it takes is one move. That's all it takes is one person, one country to make one move, and then
turns into chess.
Right, and somebody has to respond, because with all the pacts and alliances going on, that's all it takes is for one country to make a move, and then there's a war. And then that's World War III, because there's so many pacts and alliances that, yeah.
No, you're right. It really is. It's just got to start.
Yeah, that's all it takes is
somebody to make the first move.
If I had to put a money on who's going to make the first move, I would put money. I mean, the Ukraine and Russia's already going on.
Yeah.
So all it takes is something else to jump off to be World War III, basically. Israel's. Yeah. If I had to put money on who's going to make the next big move, I'd put money on China. They want Taiwan.
I put money on China as well, and I would also say that my guess is China's going to go for Australia first.
Yeah, they've been instigating with Australia. They don't like Australia. Well, Australia's been talking trash about China ever since 2020, ever since the COVID situation.
Yeah.
Ever since COVID-19, and Australia knows what's up. They knew what was up, and they didn't like it. And U.S. had their back. Now I don't know.
So what happens? What happens when China takes Australia? The United Nations, all the European, countries that are together, they're obviously going to come to Australia's aid. The U.S. has basically said, we have our own problems. We're not dishing out help anymore.
If China takes Australia, what China's going to do is, okay, so the U.S. and Australia are allied. So if something happens over in Taiwan, Australia and the U.S. Situation going on down there would be the first to respond. So they would take that off the board. So if they go for Australia, that means they're going for Taiwan, because they're taking that play off the board for the U.S. to respond, for the U.S. and Australia to respond. And that's my theory. That's just a theory.
That makes sense. Okay. So now we have China invading Australia. Now, if they take Australia, strategically, they are close enough to do whatever they want to do to us, as far as a country. I would say they can move freely enough because they'll already be in that area where it's gonna their control. I think they're gonna get greedy after that, and they're gonna try and impose things that they do over in China on Australia, and I think that's gonna cause some. I don't know exactly what happened after that, but I would say that if they're gonna try to completely invade and take over Australia, all bets are off. The gloves are coming off, like, because once all these other countries get involved, we have to make a decision as a country. We would have to decide. And I think that's going to shape our. I think that just that happening will shape the way this country is forever after that. Because if we side with China and we don't help, we're just as bad, and the American people will know that. And then you can expect all types of communist type stuff to happen here in the United States. I'm just saying, that's because Trump already idolizes that type of shit. He idolizes the way Putin runs his country, and the president of China runs his country, and the CCP party, and he loves this shit. So that's what we have to look forward to if we decide to say, you know what, China, do your thing. That's just my opinion. What do you think?
I think I don't think China would necessarily take Australia. I think they just want to take them off the board. I just think they want to control that area of the world, like of the ocean. I think they just want to control that area of the ocean. I mean, it's possible. I don't think they would like invade Australia. They were more like surround them like some kind of blockade, or you know what I'm saying, just maybe some air strikes. Like, you know what I'm saying, they wouldn't like go full force and invade. I'll definitely take them off the map, because as soon as and you're right, because as soon as China does anything to Australia, then the US has to respond, right? Mm-hmm. And now China is looking like, okay, what you gonna do? You gonna help them or are you not gonna help them?
Right.
And then, you know what I'm saying, they're playing their game based on what we do. And then that sets off a whole, if we don't help them, that sets off a whole other situation. Yep.
My worst nightmare is North Korea and China together. That is my worst nightmare. I think that they have so much in common that had they get together with Russia, those three, and Trump having basically told everybody else to go screw themselves, that is like walking into a bar and, you know what I'm saying, you got Russia members in there, you got China members and North Korea in there, right? And they all want to kick your ass. Now, you also got a bunch of people in that same bar from Europe, right? From different European countries, right? And they used to have your back. Y'all used to be cool. And if a fight broke out in that bar, they were going to help. They were going to make sure you didn't get your ass kicked. Well, Trump just decided to tell everybody in the parking lot, go fuck yourself. And so now, I just see us walking into this bar and getting our asses drunk. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Nah, nobody's gonna mess with it. Nobody's gonna mess with the U.S. because at the end of the day, the U.S. the potential of the U.S. uniting is just too scary to any nation. Come over here if y'all want to. Like, yo, you better bomb us because you come over here and that's a wrap. You come over.
That's the thing, though. That's exactly what's going to happen. Bro, people are not I don't think people understand the gravity of the situation we're talking about. Okay. The war that's going to happen, if it happens, between us and China and the rest of the world, is not going to be what we've been seeing on World Star and CNN and Fox, the type of shit that's going on between Russia and Ukraine. We're not going to see that. The reason we're seeing that is reasons. Number one, Putin wants them people. He needs that economy. He needs to grow. That's what he wants to grow. Like, he doesn't want to have to bomb every single building over there the way he's had to. He's destroying what he originally set out to do, which was just make Ukraine part of Russia. That's what he wanted to do. That's not what China's going to want to do. That's not. They know that we'll never do that. They know that. So you have to go back to Pearl Harbor days. You guys remember what Japan did during Pearl Harbor when they knew that they were going to lose that fight? They knew. They kamikazed themselves in planes, killed themselves, blowing up our ships and shit with their own bodies inside the plane. You guys don't understand what we're dealing with. These are not Americans that we're about to go to war with. These are people that have so much honor and what they think is honor and respect for their elders and you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a different breed, ladies and gentlemen. We're not going to war with Americans. We're not going to war with Europe. These people do not think at all the same way we do. If we go to war with them, they're going to go to the highest extent of termination. They're going to use every single thing they have in their power to destroy us. Things that we probably do not even know exist. So when it happens, how can we possibly be prepared for it? That's all I'm saying.
That's true. They be on some shit, but I'm telling you, if they come over here,
they're not gonna come over. It's not gonna be, what's that movie, Red Dawn? It's not gonna be that. They're not out. They're not here.
Yeah, at some point, right? They know that, so they would never plan for that.
The only way they're coming over here is when it looks like Fallout. When the only thing you see is Nuka-Cola machines left on the map, that's when they're coming over here. Because then they're not worried about having to rebuild. They have the people to send over here to rebuild. They have the technology to rebuild. And they can do it in the snap of a finger. It's not like over here. Bro, they have whole cities built with, what are those cargo crates? Like shipping containers and shit? They build them overnight. Whole ass houses out of like shipping containers. These people are not the same way. Bro, this is not the same thing. So they're not worried about having to rebuild over here. That's what they want. They want that delete button so they can send the rest of half of their economy. If they sent half of their people over here, they'd still be good over there. You feel me? So like that's what, in my mind, bro, all this is Age of Empires at this point. That's all it is. I would be more comfortable if we had more friends. Because I feel like we did enough for enough countries where instead of Trump saying, "Oh, we're tired of being taken advantage of," instead of him saying that, the way he treated this man, there was motive behind it, and it was so rash and weird and like why that it would like none of it made sense, bro. There's some backdoor stuff going on between Russia and us, where that was just a big, what do you call it? Like a big facade, like a big show, right? And I think he did it because they had part of the deal for me, I think, was Trump was like, all right, look, you're going to end up winning this war anyways. If you stop destroying their country, you guys can go into talks of how you want to figure that out. But I need you, Putin, to make a public statement saying that You talked with me, and I'm part of the reason why you're ending it. Now, that makes Trump look like he did exactly what he said he was going to do. What did Trump say he was going to do? I'm going to end that war as soon as I get in office. Right? Mm-hmm. He kept his word now because of the deal. Now, Putin is going to say, man, I'm not just ending this shit. You know what he said to me? Do you know what he, right? So Trump is like, make him look like a runner, not only my country, but the whole world. And it was like, they were like this, my dog, you can do that for me? And he's like, what? Just tune in, bro, tune in. When we go live, tune in. And that's why he treated him like that. Bro, tune in. When we go live, tune in. And that's why he treated him like that.
He said, I'm even like,
and the reason, and so look, I want to circle back really quick before we get out of here, right? The reason I'm saying this is because if these backdoor deals are really being done the way I think, and I think I know they are, it worries me that when China does do this to Australia, we're going to do this. We're going to see the same type of situation where, yeah, we used to be cool with Australia, but all of a sudden Trump's going to invite him on over to the Oval Office and be like, listen, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, and then you could do the same type of shit. You see what I'm saying? And it's all, and people don't understand that, like, the way we do our campaigns, right, and our debates and all that shit, like the shit that we seen between Trump and Biden and all that, is not the same way they run shit over there, bro. Like, do y'all understand how our communist country works? Supreme rule. That is all. Period. End of story. Right? Everybody that is below the president or that is in it within what he says go, they don't, like, it's really kind of crazy, right? So, okay. If we let this happen, where does it stop?
All right, where does it stop? But if we don't let it happen, then that means we go to war, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And the fact that Trump already told all of our friends.
So
that tells me he's already decided.
So do we avoid, we try to avoid war by all means, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like this route of avoiding the war makes our enemy stronger for a war against us.
Say, wait, what do you mean?
All right, so like what Trump is doing, right, is avoiding war. Right? He's saying that he's saying that if you help Ukraine, right, if you keep helping Ukraine, then that means World War III, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's saying, and if China makes a move on Australia and we help, that means, right? But if we don't make a move, then that's our enemies getting stronger. And what do you think they're going to do if we don't make a move?
Right. And so, again, I believe all of this was already talked about. And that is why Trump is pushing to control Canada. He's understanding that these countries that do not have a strong military, these countries that cannot survive by themselves if need be, right? These countries that cannot win wars by themselves. Eventually they have to get into the fold, right? Now, Trump, again, probably within his first presidency, figured this out, which is why the chess pieces were being moved. I want you guys to understand something really quick. We have 3.5 years. That's all. Within these 3.5 years, so much is about to happen and change that I don't think that we can really comprehend it. Now, Trump knew this, and that's why he realizes that if China is taking over multiple places and Russia is trying to take over multiple places, he's seeing these three the power three, right? Working take over more territory. He has to take Canada.
They're taking away our advantage because, like, okay, if Ukraine goes into NATO, right?
Mm-hmm.
That means NATO is now right next door to Russia.
Mm-hmm.
That's check, if not checkmate, right?
Right.
U.S. and Australia being allies, right, means that we have all these bases at Australia, right?
Right.
That means if China ever makes a move, we're right here.
Right. Right.
So they're basically turning the tide. They're turning the tide and taking these
Strategic.
off the map. Yep, strategically trying to take these off the map. So we don't have the advantage anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least as big of an advantage as we've always had.
Exactly.
With this world, you know what I'm saying? As the world, you know,
being the dominant,
yep.
Powerhouse.
Yep.
And so right. And so if we don't go to war, we lose strategically now. That the strategic battle,
well,
right?
What's another play you think they could make? Like what do you think? What's another play you think that could be coming next? Either China, Russia, or even one of their allies.
They take Taiwan.
That's a. Do you think even something? I mean, maybe something smaller. Do you think like before they take Taiwan? Do you think like? Do you think anything else? I'm just trying to think. Maybe something a little. Maybe there's another move that they make before they take Taiwan. Maybe not even China. Maybe like who else are they allied with? Because to take Taiwan is like you would have to. I believe you would have to take the U.S. Situation in Australia off first. You would have to take care of that first.
Any preemptive?
Taking care of Australia, U.S. can respond, and Australia can respond, right? So you take that, right? You know, Russia takes Ukraine, then, you know what I'm saying, that makes, you know what I'm saying, and so Ukraine's not in NATO, and Russia has control of Ukraine.
I think that they're going to send more troops to Russia and Ukraine. I think they're going to try and start locking down places in Europe. If they start locking down places in Europe, it makes Putin feel more secure. Putin can continue doing whatever. Because here's the thing. This is not going to be the end. People think that the war in Russia is now over. Right? They're going to figure it out. Right? Ukraine is going to be taken over. How much of it, I don't know. But again, they're not going to be able to survive. Like if they couldn't really survive on their own without, you know, the help of the United States to fight the war, then how in the hell are they going to do that now?
Bro, they were kidnapping people off the street to go to the front lines like 2 years ago.
Right. So whatever's going to be left, it's not going to be a working economy over there without the help of Russia, right? So that's how Russia is going to end up taking it over completely. Now, they have to have help. So again, they're going to end up sending more troops over there. All right, if they're already over there, that means now China has a joint base with Russia somewhere over there. That's what's going on because they're already training. They're working together. So now they have a joint base in Europe, right? Essentially, I think that we're going to see more of this. We're going to see more of them joining forces.
Okay. Do you think? Okay, so the reason I've heard that Russia wants to take Ukraine back is because Ukraine used to be Russian territory, right?
Mm-hmm.
The reason why China wants to take Taiwan back is because China looks at Taiwan as part of China, right?
Right.
Do you think that these countries are trying to make these moves legitimately because this is what they believe is right? Or do you think they're looking for a path to dominance?
You would have to look at the history of this stuff. Like, there's always been conflict.
Well, I mean, the history seems to be true. The history is true. Ukraine is part of Russia and Taiwan.
But what I'm saying is like it's always been a communist thing. It's always like the way they run it over there is like they kill you to get you out of their way. Like that's normal. Like the Chinese Communist Party, the dude killed his uncle or whatever to take over. Same thing over there. Like there's always like been rumors about Putin because he's been over there, the prime leader over there for so long that everybody's trying to take him out. Russian mob bosses and other Russian, party leaders and right. So it's like you can't look at anything about the way that they're looking at the situation like it's right.
Well, no. Do you think they'll stop? Like, Russia will stop at Ukraine, right? Because that's where this is going on, or do they continue once they get there?
There's no way in hell. There's I was watching documentaries about like all the different surrounding areas around Ukraine and Russia, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is it? Is it Jordan?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
They've been fighting to stay independent since forever because of the wars that's been going on over there. Like they don't talk about it because these little places are so small in comparison to other places, right? But these poor people have had no real identity and have been struggling to hold on to their heritage and way of life for so long. It's just sad. And they're constantly being pushed out of their land. Like they own farms over there, right? And they'll just come in. Russian and Ukrainian soldiers will just come in and take their land. You guys can no longer farm here, but we'll leave you this little bit of land. So no, there's no way in hell, bro. All these little surrounding areas getting taken over immediately after this shit. It's all about what you let happen. The same way our country is the way that it is today because we let it happen. You think taxes are so high, like just because it went from a certain, like a small percentage to all of a sudden what it is today? No. And people will say inflation and this and that, but listen, we allowed the prices be the way that they are. We allow our government to govern us the way that they do. We allow, you see what I'm saying? Like, I think our forefathers for sure rolling in their graves. Do I think that even way back then there was a little bit of corruption? Yeah, for sure, dude. For sure. Compared to today, hell no. Hell no. Right? But again, as a people, we let this shit happen. There was a time when good things were happening in this world. Right? When we inherently knew slavery was wrong. And it took somebody that was in power to do something very, very good for humanity, to make a decision that he didn't care about profit or what other people felt about it, right? He knew it was wrong and you had to make a decision, right? There was a time when MLK and Malcolm X and all the real brothers, the real leaders, they could move people with their words. They didn't need technology. They didn't need facade. They just spoke truth. And the people that recognized truth and integrity, it moved them. It's no longer a thing. It no longer exists. I don't know what happened or when it happened, but I think that now they're not going to stop, bro. They can't stop. They can never stop. And if we let it happen, and I think we're going to, it's a domino effect, and it's going to be a domino effect for the next 3.5 years. What are your thoughts on all that? I just took over the whole show. Apologies.
Oh, no, you're good. You're good. 3.5 years.
Yeah, man. He knows his time's ticking.
Oh, who?
Trump. The Trump administration.
Oh, yeah.
3.5 years, bro. Time's ticking.
Yeah. They're not leaving in 3.5.
And if they don't, it aligns with everything that's going on. Again, it goes back to what I said about we're gonna start seeing some communist shit going on over here, bro. Yeah. We're gonna start to see it.
Y'all not gonna see those 48.
Bro.
Ain't no 48. It stops at 47.
Listen. If we let this happen, here's what I foresee. Okay? if we let China do what they want to do in Australia, Trump gives the go-ahead, pulls the trigger on what he wants to do with Canada, okay? Who's going to stop Trump from doing what he wants to do with Canada if Trump's already made friends with Russia and China and the rest of them? You see what I'm saying? You got two groups. You got Europe, you got Russia and China, and then you got us, which is the third party, okay? If we allow Russia and China to do what they want, Russia and China are definitely going to be stronger than Europe, I think. So Europe's not going to want the smoke. They're going to see what's happening. They're going to see Trump. They're going to see us working. They're not stupid. They're going to see us working with Russia and China. And then this becomes the World War III kickoff, because they are going to realize that they have no other choice but to fight it out. Because if not, they're next.
Right. So what you're saying is basically Russia takes Ukraine, China takes Taiwan, takes Australia off the map. They basically have Europe boxed in without the United States to help.
Yep.
And so if you have Europe boxed in without the United States to help, why would you stop?
That's true too. That's true too. I also feel like, and I hate to say this, I really do hate to say this, but I think that since, the government thinks of everything, even when they don't talk about it, they know that California is out of it. I'm sorry for the folks of California listening to this. California is, and I hate to keep bringing up Fallout, but California is going to be a wasteland like no other. All right. If we were to hit the fast forward button and just sit there and let it ride on Cali, woo, the shit you would see. Okay. From the government over there, right, to the state, people running the things, to the crime, to the homeless, to the drugs, to the weather, for sure being one of the biggest factors, California wildfires. Listen, start making plans now to get the hell out of there. Do I think that it definitely is playing a part in why that we're so desperate for more territory? Yes. I think nobody's going to be there. Like I said, if you just let that fast forward button ride, nobody's going to be there. Everything is going to change, and what we're seeing as far as, Hollywood Hills and all of this stuff, like, I think most people have already moved to Texas. So I think that we're going to see a huge shift in the places that we thought were going to be forever Hollywood and forever beautiful places. Like, it's just, we're going to see a shift in that, guys. And I think that Canada might be the new. If we take over Canada, I think we will. I think part of the whole thing, because again, it's all about facade. I think Trump is going to be like, listen, we're going to make Canada great. It's going to be the greatest. We're going to have the best. Everything's going to be the best. Everything's the best. We're going to have all the best people, the best food. Over here, Canada's great, right? He's going to push, because Drake's from Canada, guys. We all know a lot of great people come from Canada, right? So I think that might be the new Hollywood. He's going to try and push Canada to be. He's going to try and make Canada super exclusive type stuff. Like, it's going to, he has to do something to make them feel like it's not all bad. And I think that's what we're going to see. I think Canada is going to be the new where the stars are. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. I could be wrong completely. But that's just what I think. Any thoughts on the whole Canada situation?
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do with Canada. I have no idea, but they're talking a lot of mess.
Yeah, and I just want to be clear. I'm not down. I love Canadians. I'm not down with any of these plans. We're just talking about it. But yeah, man, I have some other stuff I got to do. Lethal's waiting on me. So I do want to say, again, this is the first time we've been, the first time we've been in person doing a podcast episode, and I thought it was going to go a lot smoother, but I apologize. for the inconvenience as far as the audio and the video. Next time, I promise it'll be much more professional. Just kind of wanted it to be a kickback. Again, don't forget, go check out Old Black Dude Plays on Twitch and YouTube, guys. As a personal favor for me, okay? Give him a follow, give him some likes, give him some love. This is my brother here, and you're getting from us. If you guys have any ideas for content, anything you guys want us to talk about, any subjects, topics, you guys have any information, you guys can reach me at 21 Crazy Carlos. It's the numbers 21 Crazy Carlos at gmail.com. You guys can hit me up there as well, or join our official Discord community, which would be another huge favor because Lethal works very, very hard on it. Is there anything you want to say to the people before we get out of here?
Yeah, definitely come check me out, and definitely if you guys want to hear some more stuff, more things that we talk about, even if you want us to go more in depth on some of the topics we talked about today, like, what I'm saying, we can do that too.
Yes, sir. I really appreciate you coming through and doing the damn thing, and I appreciate everybody for coming out. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe so you guys can become part of the ACG family, and you guys will get notified every single time we upload a video for y'all. I hope everybody is happy, healthy, blessed when you find this video. If you guys are here after the live stream airs, just know that we still appreciate you. We still want to hear from you. Go ahead and leave a comment. Everything is appreciated. The next topic that we are going to be talking about, I don't know. I'm hoping it's alien related. But we're going to try and keep it up to date on what's going on in the world. So some more current events for you guys. Again, anything you guys want us to talk about, let us know. And until next time, everybody, peace.
Oh, good.
Man, I can't believe the audio, dude.
We're in the chipmunks.
Like, how did that even happen?
Damn, that's so crazy. I was literally after the podcast, I was like, I was gonna tell you to start getting together.
An email?
No, yeah, you just get an email, dude.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So start whenever somebody like emails you whatever, just keep an email that emails the people so that way, like all your stuff, you can a way to contact all the people.
That's a great idea. So, okay. Oh, bro, I gotta show you, dude. Okay. So,
I gotta go. I gotta drive Chicago.
oh my god, bro.
I'm on the call right now.
Okay.